Hey folks, Certified Hoarder here. I am in a provocative mood. Today I'm going to pick on the feminists. I'm going to antagonize and provoke you, so I'm telling you up front what I'm going to do. And my purpose in this is to trigger you, to make you look at your little movement and decide, is it doing what it promised to do? Because what it promised to do was to liberate you from the dangers of men. I heard about I want to say it's Philadelphia, on a bus in Philadelphia, a woman was raped on a bus for like 27 minutes before somebody did something about it. We're in a fully neutered, feminist world right now, in a fully woke city where everybody knows what the guy is doing is wrong and no one had the courage to get up and smash his face in. They had the courage to record it so that the court could take care of the problem later. So she could be restored by the court through legal actions after she had been wounded for life, damaged for life. No one came to her rescue. I'm so distraught for that woman. And what really bothers me is how many men, even other women, didn't have the balls to stand up. And you telling me not one of them had a pocket knife? You can beat somebody to death with your cell phone. Is your phone too important? Take a shoe off. In the Marine Corps, it was, if you have to beat somebody to death with your helmet or your boot, that's what you do. A canteen, I don't care. Anything that's not going to break your hand, you just pummel them till they stop moving. If this feminist movement and if this anti-bullying movement is so powerful, and if it's the answer, if nonviolence and court proceedings and punitive after-the-fact punishments is the answer, then why does the problem continue to get worse? Maybe because it's not the answer. I got a horsefly eating me up. He's about to see violence in a second. That poor woman. Do you think that she would have refused the help of a big, mean, rude, masculine man in that moment of need? It's kind of like how when I was an atheist who didn't believe in a God, I still called on God to save me the day I was going to shoot myself. Phoebe Prince, 2010. She was a girl from Ireland who moved to South Hadley, Mass, and she killed herself over bullying. My wife worked with one of the boys who got the charges for that, one of the ringleaders. He was a dishwasher at a hotel restaurant. Beating the shit out of him wouldn't bring her back. Putting him in jail doesn't bring her back. Giving him the electric chair doesn't bring her back. Making him pay restitution till he's 106 does not bring her back. What would bring her back is her never killing herself. And what would cause her to get relief from her bullies would be if somebody with the capacity for violence got in their faces. So I'm going to tell you some stories I wrote down on my masculine little heart note, because I've got a daughter with a little heart sticky pad. I'm going to tell you 3 stories that are going to demonstrate that violence is the answer. The threat for violence, the threat of violence is the answer. Do not click off here. Do not just say, oh, he's a misogynist jerk, and click off. Don't leave me your comment until you watch the whole video. I'm going to know if you did. Don't be a loser. Don't be quick to put your little 2 cents and call me a name and run off because you don't have the mental capacity to hear me. Hear me. If I can provoke you to a response, I have taken control from you. You are not in control. Your agency belongs to me if my words can provoke you to do an action, to lose your mind, to spend the rest of your day upset. Okay? This movement that was supposed to liberate you from the cruelty of men, which there are cruel men, no question. This movement that was supposed to liberate you and put power in your hands has not taken and put power in your hands. It's put more responsibility and more burden in your hands. Because now you believe that it's beneath you to be yoked to a man and to concede on any of his requests to manage your marriage. And therefore you now have to provide for yourself. You have to have the education, the career, the income, right? And raise the kids, and nurture, and be a mom. It has doubled your burdens and halved your help. Story number 1. I was stationed in Hawaii. I was surfing. I was learning to surf. I was pretty new, and it was a rough day. And the place that I was surfing had only 2 channels to go in and out through. It was all super sharp coral. Like imagine stucco, that old stucco where if you bumped into it, it would cut you. There was a girl, probably about the same age as my daughter, 10, 12. She was good. She was a local. You could tell she'd been surfing her whole life. I'm trying to paddle back out, and I've been washed in. So I'm in a spot that I should not be in. I don't want to be in. And she's in this area because she's so competent. She's in this area, like, literally picking off waves on the inside. And she spins around without looking behind. She takes this wave, like, in a second. She spins around, and I'm yelling to her, I'm right behind you. She just grabs this wave and goes without looking to see was there anyone there. And she didn't get hurt, but we crossed over, and now our leashes are tangled. The leash is the cord from your ankle to the board. So our leashes are tangled. Nobody was injured, but now we're in the boneyard. Waves are breaking on us, and we are tied together, and we could drift into this stucco razor blade city. Like, we're only like 20 feet away, you know, just a few seconds from getting pushed into it. And I'm trying to get my leash off to let my board go, to untangle with her so she's free to go, and I'll just deal, you know, I'm an adult, you know, I'll just deal with it. I was like 22 thereabouts, probably 20. It's probably about 19, 20. I'm trying to protect this girl. Her dad, this local dude, he comes swimming up, and he's got me by the throat. I'm trying to survive. I'm trying not to drown. And he's got me by the throat, pushes me down and brings me back up. He's screaming his head off at me. F, 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 F. He's screaming his head off at me. I'm still tied to his daughter. Like, I'm still trying to get her loose while he's trying to drown me. Not trying to drown me. I'd be dead if he was trying. He was a waterman. I'm sure he spent 40 years in that surf. I'm sure he could spend 3 minutes underwater. I could not. So my life was in his hands, and I knew it the second his hand was on my neck. I knew it the second he was coming up to me. I saw the fire in his eyes, and his capacity to be in that water, to do combat in that water, was way higher than mine. If he wanted me dead, that's what I was going to be. I knew my only option was, I surrender, I'm sorry, it's all my fault, please let me go. So he was protecting his little girl. He saw me as a threat to his little girl's safety. He was not going to let her drown and then call the ambulance and take me to court. He was going to deal with me right then and there preemptively to make sure that I never came close enough to cause her any trouble again. And that is exactly what I did. The rest of my surf career, I stayed clear of any opportunity, any chance, any risk that I might be the reason someone else got hurt, even if it was their negligence for not looking when they took off. Next story. I was driving Big Rig. I pulled over to help some guys with a broke down semi truck. I was a CDL truck driver. I used to be. And I broke a lot, and people helped me, so I tried to pay it back. You know, I know what it's like to be on the side of the road and have problems. These guys had a Detroit 60 series in a Freightliner that had blown the oil feed line. This video is for women, so I'm not going to get into the details. Normally I cater to a men's crowd. So I had to help fix this truck. And while I'm fixing this truck, which I did, I'm with these guys for a couple hours. And while I'm fixing this truck, they're from Somalia. Like, they're jet black. They're from Somalia. 2 team drivers. The one who owned the truck and the guy he hired to be his co-driver. And the co-driver was really friendly. So as I'm wrenching on this truck, we're talking, and I said, you know, I'm asking, what's Somalia like? And he's telling me, and the thing that I'll never forget was, I'm asking, like, is it safe? You know, there's no government. That's what he's painting a picture of. It's villages, it's third world, it's villages, and you're all on your own. Law of the jungle. There's no government, which is very much like the road I live on, and I love it. Crazy me, right? So I'm like, well, is it safe after dark? He's like, yeah, it's safe. I'm thinking, there's no government, there's no law, it's ruled by warlords, it's wild, and there's no one to come to your rescue. There's no 911. I'm like, is it safe? He's like, yeah, it's safe. I'm like, what about for women? He says, yeah, it's safe for women. I'm like, after dark? Yeah. I'm like, you're telling me that in this wild third world jungle, a woman could, like, a young, attractive, pretty woman could walk across town and no one messed with her? He's like, absolutely. And I said, how? He's like, everybody's got AKs. We all know each other. He's like, if you mess with my family, like, you hurt one of mine, I'm going to hurt one of yours. You kill one of mine, I'm going to kill one of yours. So they have peace. Because the men have made it established, this is the law here. You mess with mine, I mess with yours. If you don't want problems, you don't start problems. Because the law there is not one of getting lawyers and getting acquittals and getting cases dismissed over procedural BS. They have true law, true justice. It's dictated by the strength of the people that live there, their unwillingness to allow evil to be done to them. And it's preemptive. They don't have people doing evil and preying on their women because there's a preemptive knowledge of the danger of doing such a thing, that no one's going to save you when her daddy comes out with a knife and carves you to pieces. That's safety, okay? That's what makes those girls safe. Not some feminist BS. A man capable of extreme violence. The third story relates to me. My pretty daughter and her pretty friends had some problems with a boy at school the other day. I happened to be in the office dealing with something with my son. I know you can't see him, but I got these gnats in my eyeballs. I happened to be in the office dealing with my son, and the boy, I know the boy. He was sitting in the office, cool as a cucumber, nothing bothering him, while my daughter got called down and several other of her friends got called down, and they're in the assistant principal's office telling the story. And I asked my daughter, what's going on? She said, well, so-and-so, the guy I know, the boy I know, has been doing XYZ. Let's just call it an unwanted sexual advances. Let's just leave it there. I've been sitting in the office the whole time with this boy, and he's like not even paying attention. He's in trouble, and he is not distressed. He's not looking around the room. I know what fear looks like. He has no fear. He's not concerned. The school's not going to be able to do nothing to him. I know his backstory. I know he's not going to be in any trouble at home. I know he's got money. None of this is a problem for him. He's going to get bolder. The school trying to deal with him is actually going to make his situation, his behavior worse. Who's going to do something about it? This is my daughter I'm talking about. All I had to do was stand up, walk right up to him fast with fire in my eyeballs, and get up in his face. And I said, you better remember, pretty girls have dangerous dads. Don't you ever forget it. That's all I had to do. That kid had fear like he was going to throw up. He clenched up like this. He clenched up like that. I'll bet he's thinking about it right now. Did I put my hands on him? No. Do I want to wait until my daughter commits suicide over the bullying that he starts when he recruits 6 or 7 of his friends because all of a sudden some other dorky kids start thinking that he's cool and they start following suit? Because that's how it happens. Feminism does not protect you from a rapist on a bus. It does not protect your child from a gropey little bully that doesn't care if he gets kicked out of school. A violent husband or father can prevent all of that by making it very clear what he's capable of doing to defend his beloved child, wife, sister, mother, aunt, cousin, friend. So men, I'm going to put it on you. Don't let your homies be shitheads to women. You see somebody doing something bad to a woman, don't leave her hanging there to be raped. God didn't create women for us to abandon them. He created them for us to steward them. For us to steward them is the best part of creation. That's why God made her last. That's why Proverbs 31 ends with the description of what a wonderful woman looks and acts like. And who was it written by? Solomon, the man who had 1,000 women, 700 wives, 300 concubines. What book did he write after? Ecclesiastes, where he said, vanity, vanity, everything is vanity. The man who had 1,000 women, he knew what a wonderful godly woman looked like, and he knew how miserable it was to have a tremendous amount of women that were no good and be wanting for that one good one. Trust me, gentlemen, if you want to be a godly man, you protect women. That's your job.